Hello, hello. Well, back for another incredible episode. And I have an awesome guest today, Kelly Barron, who is a specialist in menopause coaching. And this is something I wanted to talk about for a long time because I get a lot of you guys out there saying things like, my wife is in menopause and things aren't going so well, and then we can't have good sex because she's in menopause. And there's a lot of beliefs around menopause that I think women and men both hold on to that are not true and that need to be talked about. And also just the whole period of time during pre-menopause, post, what's going on, and how can one help your partner move through this time. So Kelly is wow, she's got some interesting things that she's been doing. She was a competitive power lifter for a while. Are you still
Yep.
powerlifting?
Nope. I'm still
Yes.
competing. I'll compete till I'm 100 at least.
Oh, well, there you go. But she was, in the past, she was an MMA fighter as well, which she's not doing right now anymore, but she was that fighter. She has been guiding expectant moms through childbirth, and she's certified menopause coaching specialist. And she is the founder of a company called Tempest. I understand it's a virtual platform designed to support women through every stage of perimenopause and menopause. Uh, so so Kelly is about shattering taboos and disrupting the stereotypes and empowering women through this transformative journey that all women go through, menopause. And that's why I wanted to bring her on because I like the idea that she's shattering taboos because I think there's a lot out there and it's time to shatter them. So welcome, Kelly. Maybe anything else you'd like to say about yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you, Lianna, for having me on. And I was very excited to talk on this subject. It's not often that we get to talk about it from the male perspective, from the husband, spouse, partner, and it's really crucial. So thank you so much for having me on. And I'm just looking forward to just having this conversation and just talking about our ideas, our thoughts, and how we can help.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. I think this is it's such an important topic that's not talked about. I have never talked about this on my channel, actually. Um, for myself, now I've gone through postmenopause. During menopause, it was the height of my sexual awakening. So when I hear stories from friends or anybody that's here on the YouTube, men from the YouTube or anybody else that says anything negative about menopause or complains about it or makes it an excuse for not expanding in your intimate and sexual life, I just think, wow, like for me, it was, yes, I felt I had feelings of, the menopausal symptoms, and I had that, but I was just awakening sexually. I was learning, I was growing, I was having so much fun at that time that to me it was a way to sort of help me through that in a sense because it gave me a lot more freedom. It made me feel more alive in my body. I was, become very, very, very connected to your body when you're going through menopause because you feel everything happening all at the same time. But it was just like such an amazing time of life. I never said no to any kind of sexual exploration at the time, even though I was like in the heart of menopause. So, yeah. So let's start with I have a whole bunch of questions. So I'm just gonna start with ask a question and then we'll go through and see where that takes us. But
Okay.
many men feel blindfolded by the changes in their partner during menopause, mood swings, fatigue. No, let's start with this one. First those, okay, we're unfamiliar with menopause. When does it begin typically? So let's just talk about like getting into the beginning. When is menopause coming out for women?
So it first of all, menopause, the actual term menopause is just one day. It's just 24 hours. It is the last day, 12 months after the last day of your last menstrual cycle. So when a woman's gone 12 months without having a period, that day, that's menopause. So it lasts 24 hours. And then you're in postmenopause. Prior
Ah,
to that, in perimenopause. And perimenopause typically has been said to last from, roughly you might cross into it age 45 to 55. that number is dramatically lengthening now. And women can experience symptoms anywhere from 2, 3, 4 years to up to 11, 12 years while in perimenopause. So I always like to say, if you're not pre, you're post, because menopause is one day. But things are happening now in those terms, and it's good now to talk about this with both the husband wife or both the male female or whoever partners, um, because now they're saying we women are tending to have children later in life. So we're tending to have children in the mid to, around the mid 30s, earlier to mid 30s. And what's happening is that a lot of women are already shifting into perimenopause, early stage perimenopause, but they don't know it when they're pregnant, and they're either pregnant, postpartum, they have the little children, they're not understanding that some of the things that they're actually dealing with are perimenopause. So the one thing that men don't like to hear is this is a transition for a woman that could very well last, 10 plus years.
Hmm.
On the bright side, every woman is different and every woman experiences something different. So it is merely a shift in your hormones. A woman is going through, I call it like a factory, the baby making factory, that time period in her life where she was a childbearer, what that factory is winding down. So it's like closing shop, and they've got
Hmm.
to, it takes a little while to shut every little thing down. But that doesn't mean women get into the mentality that that means we no longer serve a purpose. Our biological purpose on this planet is done, but that is not true. We are just transitioning into another phase. We are out of the baby making phase, and now we're into a phase which I like to call the wild woman, which is where we're not
Mm.
necessarily grandmas yet, because
Hmm.
our kids are having children later, but we have this block of time which describes exactly what you said in your opening statements. There are women who, there's a larger amount of women who experience low libido and things of that nature, but there is a subset of women or percentage of women that is not talked about, and that's because it's a positive effect. There are women now who are empty nesters. They're coming into their own bodies. They're wanting to explore sexually because there's not kids, 2 doors down in the house. They have freedom, they have time, they have knowledge, and they just want to bloom. So when we talk today, we'll talk about the variation, the two different types of women that are out there. And honestly, I believe there's one. It's just the varying degrees and what women are opening up to.
Mm. Wow. Okay. Already things that I did not know. And I love this idea of the wild woman. That is really lovely because it's been considered so negative for so long,
Exactly.
that women,
Exactly.
oh, I gotta go to bed. Oh my God. Like it has been scary for women. What do I do? I don't know. And that is just completely false. It can be an absolutely amazing time, a transformational time, like you're saying, a
It
new,
can.
a new time of life
It's a
to
rebirth.
a
In
rebirth.
Japan,
Yeah.
and in many other countries, especially Japan's one of the well-known ones for this, the women experience far less menopause symptoms. And
Hmm.
primarily what that's about is these women understand there's a change coming and they look at it as a rebirth. So they're very preventive
Hmm.
in movement, diet, they'll get into maybe preventative or alternative things like herbs and being a meditation, being very mindful, connecting to their body. So they look at it as a very positive experience in their lives. And that is the one thing that I wish we could change in a more Western mentality is to look that it's a rebirth of us. Like I said, it's simply a
Mm.
shift of hormones. Are there
Hmm.
unpleasant circumstances? Yes, there's unpleasant and varying degrees. But I also say this, when we were pregnant, when we for anyone that's had a child, leading up, pregnancy, leading up to birth, postpartum, are those great and fun and lovely symptoms? Do they feel great? Absolutely not. No, your hormones are going wacky then too. The difference is that the result of that period of your life is a child. So that's very positively looked on. And when
Hmm.
you go through menopause, your next phase, a lot of women just look and go, I have had this, a little bit of a rough time with these symptoms, this and that, but what do I have to show for it? And I want women now
Hmm.
to be, what I have to show for it, the positive is my own rebirth. This new version
Lovely.
of me. And
Mm.
I think if we can tell, you know, your male audience who have partners who are going through this is the mindset that they should be in as well, that they should
Hmm.
be looking at it when they speak to or try to encourage or things like that with their partner, work through this time, that reminding constantly that this is a rebirth. And they're probably not
Hmm.
going to say the words rebirth, but getting into something that fits like their language together and how they communicate.
Yeah, I mean, just in that alone, in the shift in the consciousness of what it actually is, can make a huge difference. The idea
Huge.
that your partner is rebirthing. Hey, I'm rebirthing, so I'm going to go through some like this as I rebirth, and let's get into that a little bit too. So, what are some of the common emotional, physical, and sexual changes women experience during this time, during this rebirth? What are kind of things that happen to them at this point?
So that also leads into the sort of negative um, emotions women have and even men towards menopause, because all we're ever told is, or all we've been told is these words like hot flash, night sweat, vaginal dryness, mood swings, forgetfulness, brain fog. None of that sounds sexy. Not a single one of them sounds sexy. Um, and so you start you like create this persona of yourself, of this dried shell of angry woman. And these things are so not true. Yes, they can be very uncomfortable, but there are just ways of spinning it, looking at it very positively. So yes, night sweats. A female can sweat quite a bit. Her temperature will rise at night, and she'll wake up and she might be soaking wet of sweat. Or hot flashes, which, women have varying degrees of those. They just get a flush of heat, or they can have actual like palpitations. They think something's happening to their body very bad. Women tend to be, a little more forgetful than they used to be, like walking into a room going, why did I come in this room? Mood swings tends to be a big one, but that's just like PMS. That's what our
Yeah.
hormones are doing. One minute we're crying, the next minute we love you so, so much, and then the next minute you're breathing and I want to kill you for that. So
Yeah.
we go through this cycle of that, and those are just some of the things. Low libido in a lot of women, like we said, that happens. Physical changes cause internal physical changes where it also might not be a low libido, it just might be painful. And that starts to be a domino effect in
Hmm.
your intimate life. So those are kind of the big ones. There's 34 published symptoms that they're revising because they found that it's now well over 100 symptoms a woman could go through while her body is transitioning through this. Yeah, you name it. You at this point you could just say, "Oh, my finger hurts, menopause." You know, oh, it's women's like there's so many things men don't understand. Our hair falls out or changes texture. You might have hair growth on your chin, like all these crazy symptoms that make a woman feel less beautiful. And they
Hmm.
don't understand why it's happening because we didn't, up until recently, we haven't had much education, or we haven't talked about it and been open. Nobody wants to talk about, yeah, my hair's falling out and these and things like that. So
Hmm.
it's just that negative outlook on the whole process. But those are some of the main symptoms, but there's a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100.
Yeah.
And you're not just a baby being reborn now, you're like an adult woman
Oh
with
yeah.
all of these parts of you that already existed for whatever, up to 40 years, and now everything is kind of changing and being affected by this change that's taking place, right? And so you said low libido. What about a higher libido? Does that
Yeah.
ever happen? Is that happening?
Oh no, no. I just had this conversation with a sex therapist. We were talking about this, and there's a good chunk of women that now have a heightened libido. But nobody talks about that really because it's a positive, right? Everybody looks at that as like, oh, lucky you. And a lot of women also while some women or a lot of women feel ashamed to have a low libido, now you have women whose libido has like exploded or just heightened, and they're shameful because their friends aren't. So they feel like they're rubbing it in but they want to talk about it. Like, oh my gosh, why am I now like, before it was like once a week and, everything had to be perfect. And now I'm like, wow, when does he get home, or when do I see him next, or oh,
Yeah.
I need it now. And they're very ashamed because they don't understand necessarily how that's a positive, and that's a great
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess there's also all of these, and this is something I deal with women around sex and intimacy, is all the beliefs that exist around as an older woman, you're not supposed to be so sexual. You might be a mother,
Exactly.
so come on, like mothers and sex, and you're married, and so this is what happens in a marriage, so like all of
Exactly.
these things are very weighty for a woman, and so menopause. Yeah, I mean that's quite exciting. Like it can really be all over the board what happens to women then, basically.
Oh, it can be, but
Yeah.
if you look at this time, you could say, okay, you're much older, wiser than when you were 18 to 23,
Hmm.
So you understand the hormones that are running through you right now in terms of intimacy. You get it. It's not like um when we were younger, it was very impulsive, spontaneous. Your hormones are raging. And now we understand them. We can plan around them. We can create scenarios. But even more so if you've been with your partner for quite some time, or even just the fact that you're now in a new relationship, but you're both older and wiser. Now it's like the perfect time to experiment because especially if you've been in a long time relationship, you're comfortable with each other. If something goes wrong or funny or ridiculous, you just laugh about it and move on. If
Hmm.
something
Hmm.
didn't feel right, you're apt to communicate more like, oh, that didn't feel good, and still probably laugh about it. But it's that
Hmm.
chance. And with your, baby shop shutting down, the chances of getting pregnant are either minute or none at that point. So you can really be free with some stuff that maybe you weren't free with before because you did not want to get pregnant.
Hmm. Oh, okay, I love this, and this is where I want to start flowing into here because this is where women shut down, where men shut down with women because women tell their husband, "I'm not going through this, and I can't have sex, and I know, it's not good for me." And so let's break that whole taboo. Just what you were saying here. How can how can women start to shift that mindset, and how can men help women understand that no, this is actually a great time for you?
So we'll go with women first,
Hmm.
because a lot, as I'm sure when you deal with the women that you work with, a lot of it is psychological. Um, so finding things like what gets you going. Is it that you love your bedroom to have fresh flowers and candles really like put you in the mood? Do you have to self-stimulate prior to? There's nothing wrong with that. Is there music, a glass of wine? Like, what is it that puts you in that space that's no longer the day-to-day grind? It is very centered on your body and on what you want to feel and on your partner. So, and again, whether that's washing your hair, putting a little makeup on, perfume, if there's something you like to wear, something you want to be completely naked right from the get-go, whatever it is that sort of gives you that feeling of like this time right now today is different than the rest of the day, and it has a special place. For men, there's quite a few things they can do because we're tricky, us women, but really we're not. So if you have a woman that has a low libido or painful sex, well, I should have started us off with communication is the number one across the board for both. Just being open,
Hmm.
honest, unafraid to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if she is experiencing a low libido, or it's painful, one of the most intimate things you can do is simply just lay down together naked. Just touch each other. It doesn't even have to be naked, but you could cuddle. And you can start with just initiating some form of physical touch. Immediately, for most women, we start to feel desired. Like he took the time to be quiet here with me and just touch me. That
Mm-hmm.
is very desirable. That makes you feel, okay, I'm wanted, I'm loved, I'm safe. I'm going to open up now. That alone. So it could be quiet talking. It could be, very little things that a man needs to do. It could be telling her she's beautiful because she probably does not think that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for men to communicate. I understand that. Just as it's hard for women to communicate. But if they did these little things, just little things, could start opening the door for the bigger things and start letting their partner knows she's heard, he understands. He's not going, oh, you're so dramatic, and oh, you need to get over these symptoms, and oh, why do you not want to have sex? He starts to let her know he understands, and he's there and willing to participate in very slowly or in any way, shape, or form that she wants to do it in. And that
Mm-hmm.
creates that she feels desire, she feels adoration, she feels sexy, she feels wanted, heard, protected. So I think those are the most simple biological instincts a woman has, and it doesn't take much to give her that sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. So you're saying there's nothing just because she's going through premenopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, menopause, doesn't matter about, you can still have sex, first of all. It doesn't mean
Mhm.
you have to stop having sex, right? And
Absolutely.
that's one of the big ones that people are women are actually telling men this, that they can't now do it because they have had sex and I mean they're going through this menopausal stages. So this is one. It's like, yes, sex is possible, and not only is it possible, there are lots of more options available to you because you're not going to be able to potentially have a child, and so your body is much more free and open for more exploration and possibility, right?
But and I think, and that's the fun of it, right? So now you
Mm-hmm.
can experiment. You're not trying to make a baby, or you're not trying to check the box that Friday night, you got in what you got in. And especially if she's having issues physically, well, this is a time where you can go, all right, if you have or haven't ever looked at things like sex toys or different lubrications, just having fun. There's a host of new things on the market now for libido that are just like chocolate or supplement. Have fun together, talk about it, and see what sparks that. But now you can open up this toolbox of all these different things, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, basic sex. It could
Mm-hmm.
be all forms in whatever capacity, and you work together and you be very open-minded.
Mm-hmm. What are you finding from the women who come through your clinic about, generally about their belief systems and how you can help shift them into understanding this is actually a really incredible time of your life? What are you finding from women? What are they feeling when they come in? And yeah, how do you sort of shift them into a place where they understand, hey, this is an opportunity now?
Well, and this is a good point to bring up with partners as well, because it applies. The
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing when a woman comes in, especially when she has a very negative outlook or depressive or sad, it's simply that she's not being heard. And that because our doctors, they're not taught enough. Now, this is starting to change about menopause. It was up to 80% of doctors get no formal schooling in what happens. We're all very centered on everything up to birth.
Yeah.
And then like the very end of your life. So they don't have enough information for women. So women feel they're not heard, or they're looked at like, oh, she's crazy, or she's just going through a midlife crisis, or she's just getting old. So they don't feel heard. The minute that you just listen to a woman talk, you allow her to talk, you acknowledge what she's going through, and you have to acknowledge that She may say she's feeling or going through something that you've never heard yet, but it's probably possible. And so
Mhm.
giving her the space to talk, to listen to her, to let her know she's one of a billion women who are going through similar things, and that this isn't, this isn't a doom or gloom situation. It simply is okay. This, I'm not here to heal you. I'm here to awaken you. I'm here to show you the possibilities you're not looking at because you're so consumed with either the physical, mental, or all the things that are hurting you. As for partners, the biggest thing I can tell a partner in terms of that is ask her, can I go with you to a doctor's appointment? She may say no because a lot of women don't want to do that. Can I go so I can understand? If that's a barrier and she doesn't want that, then do some research. Find out on your own what she's going through. And then there's a host of other things that you could do as a couple. And obviously, this, they could go to just couples counseling. Doesn't mean you're divorcing. It's like, okay, we need to learn how to communicate. Or sex therapy. Okay, we're having a breakdown here. It's not because she doesn't want me. It's because she's going through all these things. And let's figure out how to navigate this together in a positive way. There's just women don't understand, they're embarrassed and they don't know they have all these tools, and there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with finding out who,
Mhm.
your inner goddess. There's nothing wrong with that. She's not broken, she didn't die, she's actually waiting to come out in this new, more powerful form.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, there is that step of getting the help beyond what there is. And I talk a lot about this as in really looking at the old beliefs and questioning these things. Is this really, does this really work still? Is this the way it still goes at this moment? We've changed, and the medical system is kind of in its sort of direction, and there's new things coming in all the time at the same time. So what else? What is at the forefront here of what's happening? Because for me, my personal experience was that I was it's almost like having more sex helped alleviate what could have been much worse for me. And I also had a very positive attitude towards everything that happened. Oh, okay, I'm having a hot flash. Okay, let me see. Here it comes. Okay, and then dealing with it, and but not stopping myself from allowing myself to explore and to try new things and to talk about it with my partner as well. And so it actually, do you actually see, are there been any studies done on, does sex actually have a positive effect on during that period of time? Can it have a positive effect? Or is it just that your mindset has changed to look at it as opposed to looking at like it's negative and it's scary and it's horrible time for women. It's a positive, joyful, expanding time for women.
I haven't read any formal studies. I've read a lot of conversation around it. If you look at it from the biological sense, really start to dig in and get way too technical, but it should be a positive because no matter what, when you're having that intimate time, when you're having sex and you're connecting, you're releasing hormones. You're releasing your feel-good hormones. So in that
Hmm.
time, you're feeling good. Not only that, and so that makes you feel desirable and wanted, and that'll carry on through the day. Um, but also, one of the things that is very important for women going through this time frame is, and you're probably going to laugh. You're not going to laugh. Maybe the guys will laugh. Physical movement. So sex, no, it's not exercise or a sport, but you're moving your body. You're doing a lot of things with your body. That also, that will release hormones. She'll sweat. She'll feel good. So so movement, which that falls under,
So
and the hormone,
exercise and sports is all very positive during this
it's
time, is
all
what you're
very
saying.
positive. All
Yeah.
those things combined should have a positive effect. That should have a
Hmm.
mental and a physical positive effect. Do I have
Hmm.
any
Hmm.
studies yet to prove? No, I wish somebody would do one. I really do. Because I
Hmm.
think they're going to find that we should be doing that more. Just like when you find out when you're going through this stage, you tell women, we want you to strength train. You have to strength train. It'll increase, human growth hormone. It'll give a little tiny bump to your testosterone. You need it for your bones, your musculature, to keep your weight. You'll be burning more all these things.
Hmm.
That's strength training and working out. It kind of makes sense that you could do that and
Yeah.
also have a pleasurable side effect to it. That would be great. And
Hmm.
I think it would help you get through your symptoms a little easier. You'd have a different mindset on it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I definitely did. And again, I was just shocked to hear from friends who said, "Oh, it's just terrible, it's horrible." Like, what? Like, I am having the
Uh,
time of my life here. I don't know.
I would think that you probably find that that started to wind down earlier than when their symptoms hit. They kind of got into that, probably that
Sure.
rut of we've been together for forever, and they're not,
Yeah.
looking at different avenues and ways to spice it up. She probably, this is very typical with a woman after children. She probably gained a little weight. She probably doesn't feel as attractive. He's not as attentive. You know how that goes. And I would say
Hmm.
that that's probably already happened to some
Hmm.
degree. And then you bring the symptoms in on top of it. And it doesn't become a convenient excuse. It's just like in their brain or in a woman's brain, it becomes more of like, oh, see, yeah, no, like I'm going through all this. I don't, that's not going to happen. When they should be looking at it as, okay, there's probably something we need to work on and communicate. And then if he learns about what I'm going through, we can make this a really good experience.
Hmm.
So
That's a really
I
good
would,
point. Yeah. That's a great point that you just you pointed out about prior to actually having the menopause or the perimenopause, there's already a breakdown in the relationship around sexuality and intimacy, and so then it becomes to extent another excuse and reason to not connect, and maybe she just doesn't want to anymore because she's bored anyways. And so
right.
here, look at I've menopause, just forget it. So yeah, that's why and I work with couples and singles, and it's really about elevating one's sexual life. So looking at it again, looking at it in a way that you do things differently, you connect differently, you basically wipe the slate clean from where you started and just go in a different way. Learn different things, different techniques, different ways of connecting, things that are more energetic based, and take
Right.
longer and take more time and enjoy each other's bodies more and really get into that. And then I created the Empower program for men, which is perfect for this situation because this is when men really need to step up. And because women are going through this craziness in their bodies, the wild woman, I love that. I love that term you said. And then you need the male partner to, yes, learn about it. And that's what we're talking about here, and to step up himself in his own intimate and sexual being so that he can hold space for this woman who is rebirthing in a place
Right.
that's bigger and grander and more free, in a sense, could potentially be more free for her.
And I think women, especially women who've had children or have come through, they've worked and they're peaking in their career, so they've already birthed their career, right? So to
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Mm-hmm.
Now they
Mm-hmm.
get to this period of time, and we are nurturers. That's what we are by nature. And
Mm-hmm.
we care. We care for, we're constantly caring for, and we put ourselves on the back burner. And that's why we can launch these children in and run the house, have a job, take care of our partner. But now there's a void. This happens all the time. And they talk about empty nest syndrome, but they don't really talk about it the way we should. And so whether it's your career, as you've already put in all the hard work and you're just sort of coasting or winding down your career, or your children have left, she is trying to figure out her identity at this point, on top of everything else that's going on. She's now going, what am I good for? The one job that I had, I don't have to do anymore, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And this is a really great time. If the male can understand this and work with her, she can turn inward to him now. Back like before they got married, before they had children, when he was the center of her world and that's all she ever wanted to do, she can now, if he helps guide her back to him with mindset, with trying new things, with creating something with her. She needs something to hold on to. And I'm telling you right now, she would love to hold on to him. She would love to reconnect in that way with him because that's all she needs. She just needs someone to love and to care for, and for her to get that sort of feeling back, like a, reciprocal. She needs that, again, adoration and that feeling of being needed. That breaks down over time naturally, as they start to drift and have, bills and taxes and everything gets in the way. Children now bring it back to where it was. And
Hmm.
that's not going to happen overnight. It's just going to be it's going to be a beautiful journey if they both get on that same wavelength and want it like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So she is in that period of time. What other kind of things can she do to sort of help her make her way through that and him? I mean, we're talking about the reconnection. We're talking about, changing that mindset into a positive mindset, and more exercise as well, you mentioned. But you were saying also about the Japanese who do some things prior to that in preparation. So I'm imagining
Mhm.
that that's kind of what your office is involved with doing as well, like really preparing women, and so it's not, I think the mindset's really important, but also what can, women do for their bodies, and men help women at this point. Like, oh, my wife is getting to this point. Let's do more of this, or try this, or eat more of these, or what kind of other recommendations can you give?
So I think it's easier when it's done as a team, on certain
Mm-hmm.
things. But
Mm-hmm.
preparing, so you know that at some point you're going to go through a transition, and you haven't, just like pregnancy, you have no idea what you're in for on the first one. And your mother's not telling you. In fact, I didn't even learn about perimenopause till, not, probably 10 years ago. And I didn't really understand it so much because I wasn't going
It's
through
new.
it.
It's new,
Yeah,
this
you're just like,
conversation.
you're going to lose your period at some point, and that's about all you know.
Yeah.
Um, so she she needs to find, they can find them together too, but she needs to start putting more self-care effort in. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
she's putting herself on the back burner. She's taking care of anyone else. It's time to take care of herself and not feel selfish about it. He has to understand that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Mm-hmm.
could be simple things. Maybe she gets massages. Maybe she gets a new skincare routine. Maybe she meditates. Maybe she joins a workout class, a book club, whatever it is that feeds her soul. She needs to start doing that and making herself a priority first and foremost. He can join in too. They can do things together that are new, because let's say the kids are out of the house or they're older. You can do anything, cooking class. You could try to do little weekend getaways. You could do date nights. You can, any hobby, really
Mm-hmm.
together, finding something that they do together that has nothing to do with daily life. That's just fun and that they both enjoy. And then her finding out about herself, learning about her body, learning about her mind, who she is, and taking care of that person because she's never done it
Mm-hmm.
before. Guaranteed
Mm-hmm.
she's never done it before. If you've been one of those women that's, I'm not going to get my nails done, I'm not going to do this or that because I need to buy the boys' pants and I need to make sure this is done. Well, now why don't you just go and get your nails done, and it'll make you feel great, or whatever it is that you want to do. Buy that lipstick that you swore you would never wear, because who needs lipstick? You're raising kids, things like that.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Yeah, it's really that time of deeper self-care, self-awareness, taking care of oneself. Um, and I see that for both partners where she's going through her stuff, as like kind of letting go of that motherhood. Like she's always been a
Right.
mother, but like letting go of being the mother. And it's
Yeah.
healthy for her. It's healthy for the kids as well, for them to start their lives. And she can,
Right.
okay, now I need to start my life. I'm also going to go through a big physical transformation soon, or maybe it's starting. And like, how do I really, really take care of myself now, and be kind of selfish here? This is a selfish time, really, for her, for her.
Right.
Um,
Like, she can make things like, there's so many herbs out there, herbal teas, things like that, that, will help with symptoms. Nothing cures anything. We'll get that right out there, but you can do things to help. And so taking that time, finding like a good herbal blend that works for you for whatever symptoms you may be having at the time, sitting and taking time to just sit down with that tea and relax, but you're also helping your body. Um, and then the foods you eat, and trying to get your partner on board, but changing over a few things, going with a more fresh diet, high protein, all the things that we know. But it all has an effect. It has an effect on your
Hmm.
symptoms, your mind, your mindset. It could be an exciting new hobby for you and your partner to really get into that, but
Hmm.
making sure that you're taking care of yourself. And then for the men, I will say this. The men they're not told anything. They're even more blindsided because they are like, what just happened? Some of them get it like overnight, and some they're like, something's been going on with this woman. They feel like she doesn't want me. She doesn't want me, or she doesn't love me, or something's going wrong in her head. And women don't communicate about this enough. So they're kind of shell shocked and they don't know what to do. And in that respect, they also need to have self-care. They're also going through their children being gone. They're going through the same thing and just in a different way. So if
Hmm.
they're taking care of themselves, she's taking care of herself, everybody's going to be in a much better mindset. And like I said, if he can prepare himself to understand what she's going through, and at the same time, women, we need to understand what they're going through because they are going through something. It may be on a much smaller scale than we are, but not only are they dealing with this new shift in their household or life, they're also dealing with your shift and what's going on with you. And to be honest, there's a lot of men who are really, they take that provider, protector role, like it's very instinctual. And when they see their partner going through something, most men will get scared. They don't know what to do. They want to fix her, they want to help her, protect her, but
Hmm.
they don't know. So that causes them to have a bit of a disconnect as well. So
Hmm.
moral of the story is everybody get massages. No, that's not the moral of the story, but everybody gets
That's
self-care of some
definitely
form.
helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
Explore all that. Now, massage is not, there's so many different kinds of
So
massages.
much.
So
It's
you
just
can be exploring massage to massage to massage. But again, yeah, this is a new time of life, right? This is a new time of life. This is a rebirthing for not just the woman, but for the man as well. If you're staying together
absolutely.
in a partnership, and he needs to understand that this is what she's going through, and maybe it's also, and she needs to spend time on herself and needs self-care. And maybe it's also time for him to go spend some time figuring out who he is now in this new role of, no, not dad anymore. And this, he could be the daddy for her. That could play out.
And
But
that could help.
that could help, because then, and that's what I do in the Empower program, is teaching men about polarity, of stepping into the masculine energy, but and understanding the feminine energy, but then when you get into the sexual, to expand it even more, push on the edges, so it's more of a polar situation, because people are interested in playing around in these kind of kinky scenarios, these
Oh
control
yeah.
type of scenarios, right? But you don't have to know stand in your power if you're going to play those roles. You have to know to be able to take control and allow then her to drop into her feminine more, drop into surrendering her body more. So that's what I do in the Empower program, because I see so many women who are going through menopause, going through postmenopause, post, all of this. Do you just call it all menopause though? If you just say generally, is it just menopause? Because you said menopause is 24 hours, just that period.
Yeah, I think they typically like it was always just called menopause
Yeah,
till they coined peri and post. And then, in the last 2 or 3 years, they've discovered that really you're going through perimenopause. But
right.
I think it's just easier. Everybody just recognizes menopause. So that's why, yeah, most people don't know it's just one day because that's it. It's menopause.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. It should be a big celebration that day, first of all, probably a big
there should
party of
be a
some
big
sort.
celebration. And
It's
and
my
to something
menopause party.
that you said too. And again, all women are different, all men are different, everybody has their different likes,
Of course.
dislikes. Yet I do know from a lot of the women that I've talked to, again, they've been these caregivers, they've been in charge their whole adult life. You typically end up being somewhat of the disciplinarian too, if not all. They're handling all the things. And nobody is handling them. Nobody is I mean, they're caring for her, but she's not truly being nurtured. So then you get into this phase of your life, and so the whole like women just they adore being treated like a little princess at this point. I mean, we're older, we're in our 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, but all of a sudden we just want to be taken care of. That also makes you feel
Hmm.
really to be taken care of and to be treated as this precious little thing in your intimate life, or even just creating that scenario. Women love that because finally
Mm.
they are the center of the attention. They're being nurtured. They're surrendering. It's such a great feeling. And
Yeah.
again, it makes you feel not like, oh, I'm going towards the end of my life. You all of a sudden have this like, oh, I feel so young. I feel so wanted,
Yeah.
desired. This is great.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's that time of receiving, right? Receiving that
Yeah,
energy that you've been putting out so much. I mean, women just get burnt out after raising children because you're just giving, 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 giving,
right.
nurturing your children, your husband at the same time because you can't stop. It's like this, and then you're
Yeah,
at this point of transformation in your body, which is beautiful and wonderful. The whole menopause transformation. I'm just going to call it menopause for the whole thing.
sure.
And
Yes.
then and it's like now you need to receive. And so we I teach men this specifically because you need a partner that's now going to step up and hold the space for your wildness, and then take lead in the bedroom in particular, so that you
Yes.
can even drop deeper, relax even more. And with that, then this is what I'm going to ask you about too. And I don't know if there's studies done about this, but with that, you can then go into different levels of orgasmic state,
Oh yeah.
with and that could also potentially be very healing for this period of time in your life.
Absolutely. I do believe there are studies out there, but
Hmm.
there are so many levels of orgasms and your state of mind during that, and it could be mild, it could be super intense. Each one has their place for that moment and how you feel. And you can start nurturing this and playing with it and exploring it versus just like we've got to go in there, we've got to get this done. I'm going to have mine, you have yours. Now you get to like really play with it. And
Hmm.
that creates, that sets up such a beautiful stretch of time now for the two of you to just have all this time to play with these things and experience them. And, quite frankly, it's like having a brand new sex life. Like you said, all of a sudden it's like,
Exactly.
whoa, where did this come from? Why wasn't this here years ago?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess it wasn't the time. This is the time, like you say too. It is the
That's true.
time, because as a woman, you're not worrying about getting pregnant, you know, with your partner. Or he may have had a vasectomy or not. I mean, a lot of men do
Right.
now after children are done, vasectomy, but some men don't. Um, but you don't have to worry about getting pregnant, and so that in itself is a big level of relaxation within the body. It's just like,
Right.
whoa, like I can have sex and not get pregnant. Like that's
Yeah.
incredible, and not even have to worry about it. So that enables women, and I see that with women, just like relaxing in the body more, opening the body more, and then experiencing like these, deep levels like cervical orgasms, deeper levels of orgasm because they have been able to relax much more in their bodies. So we need the men to understand this aspect, but also for them to step into a new space, like this new exploration for them, as well as like this really strong masculine presence that can lead and direct you in the bedroom, and not in any way aggressively, but just like in this deep love for each other. And she
Exactly.
drops in this beautiful feminine energy, and it's like that. Oh, think my necklace just fell. It's like the yin and the yang, right? Really working together
Exactly.
and creating this gorgeous kind of, I don't know,
Yeah.
sphere of energy. So yeah, I love that perspective that you have, and I think this is just it's just so important that women start shifting their minds towards believing this and thinking this and enjoying this time of their life. as opposed to
Right.
being terrified of it.
That's exactly what needs to happen. You know, again, just like childbirth and anything else, we know it's not going to be comfortable. We know everybody's experience is different. If you go in with it with a positive mindset and you know, like you get to this age and you go, oh, I if I live another 30, 40, 50 years, I'm this old woman. No, you have 30, 40, 50 years of being crazy and wild and having fun and just go do it. Don't be afraid of it and don't look at it negatively. Find
Hmm.
ways to look at it positively. And things like you said in the beginning with your experience, a lot of these times when you have that outlook, your actual symptoms will diminish on their own because
Hmm.
you're not dwelling in it. You're not letting your mind sit in it. You're doing positive things, and that can really, really help.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know like I definitely felt better in my body because I was really desired and I felt, beautiful and I felt loved and I felt,
Right.
and I was having orgasms and I didn't feel the symptoms during orgasmic states and the times I was playing and having, an amazing time. And it went, it went on for years for me, but at the same time, I just kept thinking, why was this told to me as, or I thought it was something that was going to be really horrible, and really, really difficult when it's just, it's a physiological change that's taking place. And if I had known words like my rebirth and the wild woman, that would have really like bumped up my whole perspective into something completely different. But I love that that's what you're using. And I think that's going to make a huge, huge, huge difference for sure. Um,
Yeah.
are you you're in Charleston, that what you said, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And do you work with people online? And maybe you can talk about how you work with people through your what is your program? The
Uh,
company.
so we
Yeah, tell me a
work
little bit Tempesta. What
Tempesta.
that means. What that
It's the Italian word for tempest, which is storm. And I sat there
uh-huh.
thinking, menopause, all these hormones, it's just a storm. But we can fear the storm or we can love the storm. Like when you lay there and it's a thunderstorm out and it's bad weather, but it's also kind of beautiful too. And then when it's done, everything is green and pretty and the flowers and the birds and they sing. So I looked at it like that. And
Love it. Love it.
we do everything virtually online. So we have the ability to, you can do a telehealth visit if you are experiencing menopause symptoms and feel like you want to talk to the doctor and see if there's prescription medication that you need. But we like to look at the woman as a whole, and she has all her choices. So then we also have where you can talk with a menopause specialist. I am the menopause specialist, and I will
Good.
work with you through, I'm also a licensed chiropractor and acupuncturist. So I will work with you on the alternative healthcare end of it,
Hmm.
saying you have choices medically, we have alternative healthcare, and then we do fitness and nutrition and mindset work with these women and try to get them into the point where they are embracing this stage and working with it versus working against it or crumbling under it and
Hmm.
getting them to just the metamorphosis into this new phase of your life. And then we have supplements online too that are just strictly, they're geared towards women's health. Um, and that is the basis of what we do.
Hmm.
I have a podcast that it kind of goes through menopause. Like I have women come on and tell their stories. As I just think it's important that women get their stories out there and it might resonate with someone who's scared to talk about it. So that's what we do with our program. We're basically here to help women navigate this stage of life, but navigate it with strength, with positivity and glamour, sexiness, like find all that.
Yes.
Because we literally
Yes.
have a second half of our life, and it pisses me off to no end when women shrivel. I want them to get out there in that black dress, those high heels, and go have the time of their lives.
Yeah, this is the time. This is the time to do it. So I love the work that you're doing. I think it's awesome. It's so important because, like you say, you are just maybe only halfway through your life at this point, and you
Right.
have so much time to blossom, to bloom, to just do all sorts of incredible things. So and it's something you cannot avoid. It's
So yeah,
there. It's part of our human bodies that need to go through this phase. And so because it's natural, then why do we ever even thought that it was anything negative whatsoever? It's a natural process.
right.
And so and so, to have support places like yours that help women see it with a different perspective, help couples as well. Like you say, you like to bring in the couples as well. That's just absolutely fabulous. So I'm going to put all your information in the description if anybody wants to talk
Thank
to
you.
you and connect with you. And yeah, do you have any final last words? Because I think we've gone through a lot. It's something we can talk about for a long time, but it's been about an hour, so I want to cut it off here, but I want to know if you have anything else you'd like to add that we missed.
No, I don't think so. I
Okay.
think we kind of covered it. We have to look at this time in a woman's life as exciting versus, versus that slow walk to the end of the pier. We're not. And but both men and women, I wanna really reinforce this. Both men and women are going through stuff. It's different. And communication. Just please, everybody communicate with your partner. It will be better off if you do. Don't be embarrassed.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And if you're a guy watching this and you would like to get into that space of being able to support your partner and be there for her in suggesting, alternative ways of exploring together intimately, sexually, then get into my Empower program. It's super powerful. It's going to elevate you up to a level that you don't even understand where you're going at this point, but you're going to feel so much more alive and confident and ready to take all of this on for the next mix big phase of your life. So thank you so much, Kelly, for being here. Really appreciate it, and
Thank
for all the work that you're
you.
doing.
You
And
too. It's very important.
thank you very much. Good. So I will see you again soon, somewhere, somehow.
Somewhere, somehow.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.